Okay, folks. Boy, the weeks are going by. You get older and the weeks just fly by. They just fly by. But anyway, we're at Friday already. It just seems like yesterday we're here. Government lockdown in the U.S. Big story we're following. And probably, have you seen this kid, this Trump impersonator kid? We'll start with him. He's so funny. He does such a he channels the spirit of Donald Trump. And what's great is that the president has followed this kid and has done his own thing with him,
Yeah.
reposted him. And here he is talking about the lockdown, but he's got all the witticisms, all the nuance that Trump, this guy channels it so beautifully. It's like, who needs the president himself to say it? Just send this guy out to get the message out to everybody. Here we go.
Mi fellow Americanos y bienvenidos al cierre de Schumer. That means welcome to the Schumer shutdown. We call it the Schumer siesta, right? It's the Schumer siesta. He put the government on siesta, crying Chuck and El Hakimo Jefe Jeffries. We used to call him Dollar Store Obama till we realized he's worth far less than $1. But they put the government on siesta to give illegal aliens your health care. We're not going to let it happen. I looked at both of them. I said, we're not going to let it happen. It's no bueno. I said, it's no bueno. They begged me. They said, but senor, por favor, please give illegal aliens the health care. I said, we're not going to do it. We're never going to do it. It's not going to happen. And they're also very upset about our big, beautiful sombreros. You look at them. These are the greatest sombreros the world has ever seen. We really have the best sombreros, and everybody wants one except Crying Chuck and El Hakimo Jefe Jeffries. They don't want one, but they're going to wear one when all is said and done. We're going to end the siesta. We're going to reopen the government, and we will not give in to the demands of Chuck and El Jefe. We're not going to do that. Thank you. God bless you. Dios lo bendiga, and God bless America. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Okay, so the kid's got some real talent, but the way that crying Chuck and the way the syncopation of the language, his rhythm of the way he speaks his stuff, he just couches it all down, and the whole mockery and of the left and everything. Now the left are going nuts. I mean, they're freaking out. But the beauty of it is, because Trump wouldn't put a sombrero on Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jefe. And so he put a sombrero on him. And then the White House not tweet, but they post that we're done with tweeting. Twitter's dead. Long live X platform. Elon Musk doing incredible stuff there. But the beauty is that Trump's put a sombrero on this Hakeem. He says every day the lockdown continues from the Democrats. The sombrero is going to be 10% bigger. So I'm just watching this meme. They keep reposting it day with Hakeem, and his hat keeps getting bigger and bigger. The left, they were trying to blame the lockdown on Trump. It's not working. Trump actually, because of this sombrero meme going, now everybody's got a sombrero. There's all your favorite Dems are running around. They throw on sombreros on, and they put them with the little mustache. I wish I had my old photo album. There's a picture of me in Halloween 1970, 70 what, and I got a sombrero, and I've got glasses with a little nose and a funny mustache, and that was my Halloween costume, 1970. Everything old is new again. So, Master Troller, POTUS, actually, let's do the Reaper. The left are freaking out about the Reaper. Just go, don't fear the Reaper, Trump, and on X. If you do that, then we'll play that, because that's a good one, too. This is by a little meme outfit, right-wing memers. I'm having so much fun. Hakeem, I can't stand the guy at all. Yeah, it's all talking points. It's all bullshit. It's blah, 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 blah. Trump calls it blah, blah. And when you play this clip, you're going to hear Trump in the background going blah, 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 blah. And it's just the parody on it is off the charts. John, we love you. Welcome. God bless you. A fellow Christian, Blake. John's a very intelligent guy. He's extremely knowledgeable. and I'm always happy to see his friendly avatar here on the show. All right, so this is kind of a cool one. Blue Oyster Cult, more cowbell. Trump having fun with it. Okay, so it goes here. The Democrats are so screwed. Laugh, laugh, laugh. President Trump just posted this incredibly cool AI video of himself, and JD Vance are in the band with Russ Vought as the Grim Reaper. Grim Reaper. Is this what you voted for? Yeah or no? Yeah, we voted for. If a whole MAGA. Okay, let's go big. Let's do it. Let's have some fun. Daily 300 meme team, and I subscribe to them as well. They got a whole bunch of stuff going. But I mean, the parody is great. It's simple. You keep the message simple. You keep it on point, and you hit them hard, and you repeat. And it's working like a charm. The Dems have no answer to any of this. They try and come back. More Trump bell. Yeah. I got a fever, and the only cure is more Trump bell. But yeah, I mean, fantastic. So the shutdown, go ahead. I like this comment. Government lockdowns always make me imagine a toddler crying and kicking in the middle of the floor. Go ahead, Blake.
Yeah, well, it's all the politicians looking for their goodies to try and get reelected at local. So it's the pork barrel spending that they've talked about for decades and decades. And yeah, the Dems are trying to shore up any little vestige of support they have left, which is actually backfiring on them. And that's the problem. It's going to backfire because people are saying, well, hold on a minute. Americans are saying, but that's our money for our healthcare. Why can't we have that money? And why is it going to people who are non-citizens, like illegals coming in that are taking advantage of this? And the Democrats are pushing that. So again, it's self-defeating, except for the moronic public sector class that supports them, because the Democratic Party all is left of the public sector class. I'm talking about public sector workers and the unions specifically, who kind of push this kind of crap in the colleges, universities, and within the government ranks, because we have the same problem here in Canada. But yeah, it's no longer, it's falling on deaf ears, in the sense that it won't fall on deaf ears during an election, because the midterms, they will get massacred because people are so fed up with this crap. And even their staunchest supporters, guys like Bill Maher, are desperately preaching to them, change your ways. You guys are losing. And as a big Democrat like him, he's saying it's not working, guys.
He's been saying that for a while.
I know.
He's one of the more reasonable ones, right?
Well, and he's kind of like their prophet, right? You better listen to him. He's telling you guys are losing everywhere. The problem is Bill's older, and I think the younger, what I call the campus radical types that have taken over, these would be the Mamdani types that would be voting for that idiot in New York. And they still think that's how everybody's going to go. But the rest of the world has moved away from the woke nonsense, or let's call it for what it is. It's Marxism 2.0. But that's essentially what's happening. And these guys hold up, and they're still trying to fight this battle out by holding up the budget. But they don't realize, actually, government not working because there's essential services that still get funded under emergency measures. They get their money, like the military still gets their money. All that side, the National Guard, all the money that's needed for emergency coverage and can't be shut down. They will still get paid. They'll still be protecting the United States. But really, it's great because you save money. And now every day the government shut down, Americans are saving billions of dollars a day right now. So it's another savings in a lot of ways. So you can keep doing that. There's some people, of course, but this is a classic example. The left will also, they're very good at this, of parading around all the people that are getting hurt, that they're hurting. It's kind of like a hostage situation. You don't give us this, we're going to take those veterans from Veterans Affairs and we're going to throw them on the ground. They're going to be paraded out as dying in the streets, and other people that should be getting their support, they'll use them as a hostage negotiation for this. And this is the problem. They should never be doing that side of things. And hopefully, my only question would be is, I thought the Senate, with the Republicans still having a majority, so are they working on that agreement where they were allowing 60% or 60 senators to make this pass? Or is that a requirement? I thought they could just say, screw that, we'll do 51% and we'll abolish that move.
Some stuff. Yeah. I don't know what in terms,
I mean, maybe some of the Americans on our chat there can chime in on that, but it was kind of more of a mutual agreement between the two parties that it would make it that you would need 60% of the senators to let that pass, but it wasn't required by law. Like they could just say, forget that, we're pushing it through with 51.
Yeah. Hey, Eddie's Physical Media Talk goes, hey, guess what? All this nothing matters. Your case is falling on deaf ears. Mike Draw. I don't think it is. I don't think our case is falling on deaf ears at all. When conservatives, when we got together and we decided to do something, Elon Musk kind of calling to attention. Now, Netflix is something I bailed on a long time ago. Once I found out that Susan Rice, I was going to say Valerie Jarrett, but Susan Rice was on the board of directors years ago. Then she dropped in 2020 for a while. She dropped some stock and stuff, and then she came back onto the board. And then the Obamas themselves, Michelle and Barack, joining Netflix. Well, when all that was going on, I bailed. I said, clearly this is not going to represent anything I have interest in. And then we just found out during the last election, Netflix dropped, 10 million or something on the Kamala campaign. So, I mean, that's all you need to know about Netflix. Get the hell out of Dodge. Anyway, they've shredded $15 billion so far over a week or so of their activity.
Well, I was looking regarding Netflix. It's the same WF crap that we point to. All you have to do every time you see these companies do something, please just go into Google, search largest shareholders of name that company, and it's always the same group of people that run the WF: BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, the big asset managers who are allied to the union pension funds. They are a conglomerate tentacle monster. And they're the ones, when you read their policies, they have that DEI statement, their inclusionary comments. And it's Netflix has it. All of them have it. Yeah. It's the new priesthood that they say you need to adhere to these it's really a theocracy type of situation. They're saying you need to adhere to this belief system or you're out. So all these companies are being bought by these guys, and they're making them do this. And this is a way for mind control, and this is what they do.
Yeah, it's the it's kind of the culture war. This is what they're forwarding and promoting. But it's failing. It's failing big time. We saw that with Charlie Kirk. Huge. The impact of Turning Point USA and the advances made there. The purchase of the X platform or Twitter by Elon Musk, huge. The latest thing now is Grokpedia is coming. I can hardly wait. Now, I am actually, anybody can do it. Wikipedia can sign on. I've edited stuff. and gone in, and it's been really great. Wikipedia has been really good, but it falls way short as soon as you get into a political thing. We talked a little bit about this last time, and Blake found some of his stuff censored, and he couldn't even. It shouldn't be political at all. It's just historic stuff, but because history itself is a narrative and a reinventioning and a reimagining retrofitted to today's sensibility, history is actually a political tinderbox. And so that needs to be, the left needs to censor it. The truth can't stand. They don't like it. So this Grokpedia coming is a beautiful thing. It's just another example where we're pushing back against this. And with Netflix shredding 15 bill, I would not be surprised to see Elon or somebody like him. In fact, Elon's the first guy in history to be worth like individually, personally, like $500 billion, like just to him, like pocket. Here's what I got on me. I got, trillion, throw out. $500 million or $500 billion, excuse me, dollars to his own worth. I mean, the guy's, he's money personified. Anyway, great things. Cultural war is losing, and also, as Blake alluded to earlier, you've got the traditional cadre of the government employees and that kind of garbage support for the Democrats, but they also have the lunatic fringe. Nowhere more evidence than by our friends at Antifa. Nick Sorter got himself arrested last night. Apparently, I'm being told he's since been released without any charges laid, but American patriot Nick Sorter gets arrested for loving his country. When I tell people, like I have, that the left will never hold the Oval Office again. This is exactly why they won't. Good luck with that imagery, Democrats. So, and I want you, when this one woman comes in, the bird lady, I just want you to freeze on bird lady when she shows up, because this shows the exact extent of they're the lunatic left, as Trump calls them so accurately. Good.
Now, anti-ICE protesters also set this American flag on fire before.
Okay, there's a little, you see the lady in the front? Just scroll back a bit on her and you'll see her waltz in. There she is. Look at this, it's some sort of bird lady. I'm not quite sure exactly what the mentality is there, but they've got obviously the stars and stripes being burnt.
Harry in the background?
It could be Harry. This is Portland. Yeah. This is Portland. All right, let her roll.
This American flag on fire before it was ripped away by independent journalist Nick Sorter. He put the flames out and took the flag away. That led to him being cussed out by protesters. More on him in a second, but lastly, want to show you this. Take a look. Whoa.
I'm not sure why.
Okay, so the cops come in Portland. This all goes down and left this, stronghold Portland. Trump's going to come in there with the National Guard. Things are going to clean up there. Everywhere Trump goes with the National Guard, the Marines, the resources available to the president are just, unlimited. They're limitless. And the presidency's having a lot of its power restored by this administration, by the agency of the Supreme Court. Praise God. A lot of good stuff is happening. Blake, Portland, Nick Sorter's arrest, he has been released.
This really angers me because there's there's a separate video you need to play if you could find it, Sue. It is, there was a citizen journalist, a girl, I can't remember her name. She was there, I think yesterday or the day before, might have been the day before. And when she got hit in the face, attacked by Antifa, this girl took a pole and hit her right in the eye. Could have severely damaged her. A cop was right there. They followed the Antifa nutcase who assaulted her and did damage to her to arrest her and charge her for assault. And if you could find that video, they follow her and her friend. The cop comes up, says, "Hey, stop," puts his hand on her. And she says, "Don't touch me, and threatens him off. The cop backs off and lets her walk away after the cop knows this is the girl that assaulted the I would call a citizen, a MAGA journalist for sure.
Yeah.
But if you can find that and put that up, because that's just blows me away. The difference between Nick Sorter, who's
Yeah.
just putting out a fire from arson, but puts out the fire,
Well,
he gets
also-
arrested.
Yeah.
And
Flag
he
burning,
gets
you
handcuffs
can't
on.
get- it's against the law. You know, Trump
I
made
know.
that.
Well, you can't. It's not going to
Yeah,
win
okay,
because
yeah,
it's already
right.
it's already past the free speech side of things, and it's private property. If it's your
You got
property, you
it.
can do with it, but it's still wrong. It's a symbol of who they really are. They're anti-America. They hate America. They hate the Republic for the stands. But if you can find that video and play it, it is really important to see it, because we just saw that video. He gets arrested, and on the other side, Antifa attacks, injures a person, and the cop does nothing. Just
Yeah.
touches her. She has a meltdown. He backs off and lets her walk away. She walks into the Antifa, what they call safe houses. It's basically a tent. They surround her. She
Yeah.
apparently changes into different clothing because she had her mask on and all that stuff,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
vanishes within the crowd, and the cop does nothing. It's just absolutely ludicrous. That mayor of Portland needs to be arrested, because she is telling the cops to stand down. They are not doing it. They're only doing it. It's much like Keir Starmer or
Yeah.
Sadiq Khan in London, where
Sadiq.
only one side is getting arrested. The other side's not at all. And they were rioting in England this morning, or their morning for them, yesterday, where they had mass protests outside Whitehall. They kind of caught them cornered in, but you can see the cops are fighting with the Palestinian Hamas holes
Yeah.
and their far left supporters, and nobody is getting arrested. I'm
Yeah.
like, if the cops are being hit, I'm like, these guys should be going down hard. But yeah, just it blows me away. And I know sometimes what they do is they arrest the normal people and then drive them a number of blocks away and then let them out because, hey, we did this for your own safety because they were going to hurt you. Well, cops, why don't you just beat the crap out of them and take them and handcuff them? Take them a ride in the old paddy wagons. Those were great because you do hard turns and corners all the way, and they just be flying around in the back.
Yeah.
That's how you teach them a lesson real quick. You know, get the kids a little spanking there, and maybe they'll stop doing it.
Anyway, yeah, just crazy. But I mean, I understand the frustration. I mean, it's the nature of things. And I don't know. I mean, sort of should just, let them do what they do. Yeah, and recognize where you are. Be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove kind of advice for people on our side of the aisle. You want to be clever about all that. Okay, and here you go. John Bandy helping Sue out and myself with this. The executive order is more about the results of the flag burning. Burning it may incite violence and riot, it says, and the pursuit of that outcome should be punished. It's still an expression of free speech. Even though we don't like it, I think there's other ways you could show your I'm against the government or whatever, rather than burning, the symbol of the nation itself, especially when America is being attacked by, Palestine, these people for free Palestine and all this kind of nonsense, the commies and all the rest of it, right? All enemies, foreign and domestic, right? This is the idea. But anyway, it's great seeing Marty here. We love Marty in Oregon. But Antifa, always trouble. But this is the dichotomy within the Democrat Party, where they've got radical left, and then they've got, traditionally, the wrench carrier, the lunch bucket brigade, the blue collar, the union guys, the working man idea. And but these are two disparate entities within themselves. They find themselves at odds. The LGBTQ plus at odds with the more strident Islamist faction within the left, the Free Palestine, because, they aren't always keen on the gay rights and whatnot. SCOTUS Supreme Court ruled it was free speech. However, we've lost our mustn't radar in light of we mustn't radar in light of we can do it. We list our scruples radar in this country, in my opinion, or we lost our scruples radar in this country on both sides of the aisle. Okay, let's take a look. Speaking of Hamas and all of that, we got a headline here. Trump has given Hamas till Sunday to make a decision. Let's see, what do we got that as? Hamas deadline, it's entitled. And let's take a look, bring her up. So this is interesting. This the White House. We will have peace in the Middle East one way or the other. The violence and bloodshed will stop. Release the hostages, all of them, including the bodies of those that are dead now. An agreement must be reached with Hamas by Sunday evening, 6 p.m. Washington, D.C. time. Thank you, Donald Trump. And the letter goes on to explain it in detail. And he concludes with, you've got till 6 o'clock. We can just do the last line. This go. There will be peace in the Middle East one way or the other. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald John Trump, 6 o'clock D.C. time, Sunday. Blake, thoughts on that? Do you think Hamas will cave? You think they're going to stick to the guns and be tough?
They'll just go into rebuild mode. Of course, they'll stop. The Hamas has to be completely obliterated. I'm not talking politically obliterated. They need to be told you cannot exist as an organization anymore. But this is what happens. They essentially rebrand as something else. So if anything, it'll give them a chance to rebuild. And I hope there's a policy in there that they won't be allowed to, in any shape or form, under any branding, that basically at this point, if you want your protected state being Gaza, then Gaza will have to have troops on the ground there, making sure for a long time that there's no more tunnels being built, no more weapons being smuggled in, and whatever political organization they create has to be above ground now and has to be legitimate. You can't get these crazies that are coming in, imported in. A lot of them are imported in.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is they're coming in, they're Iranian supported, they're backed by Hezbollah. It's a mess. So I don't know. I'm hopeful things will finally come to an end, but we know biblically it never does.
Well, yeah, it doesn't come to an end until it comes to an end.
It comes to the actual end.
It comes to an end. Yeah, eventually it comes to a screeching halt. Okay, so anyway, we'll see what happens. We'll keep it tuned in on that story.
I found that video, by the way, just so
you got
I posted it down there. It's really, you only need to watch the first 30 seconds of it, but it is really frustrating to talk about Nick Sorter being arrested, and then watch this. Literally, it was Katie Daviscourt. And yeah, go ahead and play this. So this was literally a couple days ago. So you just saw Nick Sorter get arrested for putting out a fire of burning flag. And then here's the assault, the after assault, where she got hit in the face with a stick. And I'll put a picture up too there if you want to play the video first. And then there's a picture of what Katie shows of her face after she got smashed in the face, and the bruising that showed up within 24 hours later. It's pretty nasty. So
all right, let's take a look here.
So watch the cop here.
All right, so I have this assault suspect. I have the police guy following, so we're gonna see if anything happens.
Oh man.
And watch the cop. And then watch the Antifa reaction.
Do not touch me!
Yes, Jansport backpack.
Do not touch me.
That one.
Do not touch me.
Her.
Do not touch me. No, I'm not. I am not.
I just said that you are. Stop.
I'm underage. Do not touch her. Do not touch her. Do not touch me. I am underage.
I'm underage.
And the cop just lets her go. Yeah. Don't touch me. What? Yeah. So they follow her all the way back to the Antifa safe camp.
Yeah.
And they pull out their little umbrellas and their whole umbrella thing to mask what they're doing.
Yeah.
Apparently she changes into another outfit and disappears. Right.
All right. That's so.
But then if you click on the next link, and then you can see what happened to Katie. I mean, she's got serious injuries, and that person hit her in the face, right in the eye, with a stick, and that's a major assault. Like if you click on that last link, Sue, you'll see a picture of Katie of the after effect.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, and there. So this is a journalist that was hit, I guess, by this woman. So yeah, she got a pretty good shiner there for her efforts. I don't know. It's a tough one, right? It's like a war zone going in there. I mean, I don't know. Would you do it, Blake? Would I do it? What was she doing there? What was she trying to cover? What was this?
She was covering the anti-ICE fights between Antifa and because ICE they're protesting outside, or let's call it, it's not protesting, they're rioting and violently oppressing the ICE workers from doing their job. So she was covering that, just like Nick Sorter and others that have been covering. There's another guy, Andy Nago, I think he's
Andy's been a big one on all that.
So he's covering a lot of this at the same time, and he's been attacked and he's had actual severe injuries, hospitalization problems, assaults from Antifa. And there's also another article, I guess, that there's apparently city councilors that are in Portland that are allied to the Antifa people, are telling them to buy burner phones, apparently, so that they can't be traced. It's a war zone. It's literally a true insurrection. There's your insurrection, folks. Not Jan 6th. This is what insurrection looks like when you have a violent, attacking, opposing, anti-American force, hates your country, is doing damage. So, but yeah, it's where they are. There's great places and areas around Portland. I love Portland. It's a great city, but they've got some problems and they need to clean this up. But they've got a mayor that's part of this problem.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you think about this criticism of your kind of hyperbolic language or perceived? War zone, that makes useless real definitions of war. It's the same thing when they go, words are violence, and then they go, well, it tends to minimize real violence, right? Physical violence. Words aren't violent. Violence is violence. A black eye like the girl's got, that's violent. How do you defend yourself against this kind of criticism, Blake?
Well, I think in the sense of the war zone, you've got one opposing side that's attacking another side, and the other side's defending it physically. You could call a war between gangs. That's warfare. I mean, when we look at what happened in Chicago, there's more people dying in the streets of Chicago from gang warfare than all of the people that died during the uprisings and the fights between the IRA and the Protestants in Belfast. I mean, that's how crazy. So technically, what do you consider a war zone? They consider Belfast a war zone. Do we consider gangland war zone? I mean, LA was a war zone in the 80s and the 90s between the Crips and the Bloods. But in this case, this is a very anti-government movement that has been very violent to the point of attacking federal buildings. We've seen that happen. They were Molotov cocktailing it. They were attacking the building with the people inside who had to barricade inside the building. That is war. That is a form of war.
So I guess maybe for our friends on the left, we're trying to, reach some sort of common ground. We got to meet somewhere between war zone and mostly peaceful protest.
Well, peaceful protest is not violent.
Hold on, mostly peaceful. They go, oh, it was mostly peaceful. You know what I'm saying?
Except for Jan 6 wasn't mostly peaceful when it was mostly peaceful.
Well, yeah, January 6th is under scrutiny right now. We just showed some great footage last week of that Patriot with the flag being pushed by the FBI agent. That's all got his face all covered. Blah, 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 Blake. Belfast was nothing like Portland. Just stop.
No, I was comparing Chicago to
okay,
Belfast.
Don't mention Belfast. It's the Irish. She's Irish. Marty, he loves the Irish. All right, everybody's worked up. Boy,
Antifa's got to up their game now.
Antifa does, but they've burned down buildings and they've attacked ICE officials, and they come in with their shields and their clubs and whatever else
Yeah,
they got,
they're
for
armed.
us in trouble. So
They're armed, and they were part of the BLM protests as well. They were the agitators that created violence and murdered. Was part of the murders of people in the streets that died from the whole
yeah.
BLM.
Well, yeah. Who was the young kid in the the Black Lives Matters thing? And you said Belfast. He's going to hold you to your word. You got. He's a pit bull.
I did in comparison to Chicago. If you listen to what I said, go back.
Yeah, Belfast, Chicago, equitable. Because people are dying every week.
More people have died in murders in Chicago from gang warfare than all the battles in Belfast. So
but in all of their times or their troubles.
Yeah, maybe if they all had a glass of Guinness, it would have been fine.
Holy smokes. Okay, warfare is an activity undertaken by a political unit, which Antifa is, to weaken or destroy another entity. So yeah, warfare, it fits for John. Maybe not so much for Marty, but certainly.
Well, except that you could argue information is a war too. It's not a physical war, but you can have an informational war.
Yeah, info wars. Yeah. Well, there's the whole thing, right?
Propaganda, right?
Boy, no, absolutely. Okay, so Blake, we got good news from this guy. Can barely pronounce his name. He's Romanian. Zabavizi. I got good news for Zabavizi, and this kind of explains the absolute state of things in Canada as we turn our attention away from our beloved, cherished United States. We look at Canada here. So this guy was one of the convoy protesters. This is from our beloved, much loved Tamara Litch. The best news today, Canadian trucker and hero Zabaviza is not guilty. After fighting for freedom in the Romanian Revolution alongside his father, Zaba came to Canada to follow the Canadian dream. He surrendered peacefully to the police during the takedown of the trucker convoy when the cops moved in, was brutally beaten during his arrest, and suffered bruised ribs and a wrist injury as a result. Zaba has since endured 3.5 years of lawfare by the state. Congratulations, my friend. Breaking. Freedom Convoy protester Zabavizi has been found not guilty on all charges. The judge had previously ruled that his arrest was unlawful due to serious violations of Mr. Vizi's charter rights. And for whatever, charter rights, whatever that may be worth. So Blake, thoughts on Vizi's, the government, the lawfare, they went at him. And at the end of the day, thank God they got a good judge, a just judge, an honest judge who said, everything that's gone on here is wrong, right? From the calling of the War Emergencies Act or the they dropped the war. Speaking of warfare, they dropped the war term and they just went in Emergencies Act, but they arrested a whole bunch of otherwise law-abiding citizens with no criminal history, no criminal record at all. But our government, in their infinite wisdom, went and decided to make criminals out of all of them. You, me, and everybody else. Go ahead, Blake. Take it on.
Well, and the government was defeated as well in courts over the rationale to declare what was used to be called the War Measures Act, which became the Emergencies Act, which suspended all rights. So as soon as the courts overturned that position, any of these arrests that happened because of the Emergencies Act being declared illegally, should null and void any of those arrests that are happening, especially if you're just picking people off because they were organizers and involved with the protest. But this is a classic example of what we've seen: massive suspension of rights in Canada, an illegal suspension of rights. And I hopefully Chris and Tamara will both, when they go to the courts, that they will get that overturned as well.
Yeah, I'm sure praying for that, man.
And because essentially they were protest organizers. They weren't insurrectionists.
No.
But if you ever look at how the police eventually, with the federal government's support to crack down and break up the protests, they sent in battalions of troops armed fully helmeted baseball bats, police.
Oh, they went in looking for a fight. Yeah.
They went in charging in like a Roman army, beating the shit out of people, shoving them around, stomping on them with the horses. I have not seen them do that once to Antifa, not once to the Hamas holes and their far left groups running around trying to control our streets as well. And this is the proof that there is no equal justice under the law when you have a clown government in charge like this.
Yeah.
This is about suppression of the majority. That's really what it is. Suppression of the majority thinking to create terror and fear that you cannot protest against us, those that are the lawful. Because really, the people who showed up to protest were lawful protesters, peaceful protesters, no violence. Not one thing was shattered or broken through violence or vandalism. So hopefully we'll finally see in Canada that this will be put to an end. They're asking for more jail time for these people. I'm talking about the Crown prosecutors.
Yes.
Than a lot of our newcomers that have raped and even murdered people.
And murdered. Yeah.
Exactly.
Murderers have gotten off with less than what the Crown is seeking against these people. The state, in other words, our American friends. Ladies and gentlemen, I love this. Marty in Oregon, Pat, Portland is just fine with it's no different from any red city. In fact, red states have higher murder rates. Hold on. You got to use a controlling variable when you look at the state, sure, but the crime, where in the state is the crime occurring? It's happening in Democrat-controlled big cities. So say you're going, oh, Missouri, it's an incredible, great red state, and Missouri's all in for Trump. But then you go into St. Louis, oh, St. Louis has suddenly got all blue. We're all in voting for Democrats. So once you control for city versus state, you're taking too big a slice of the pie. Control for the city, you're going to find that the blue cities are the real problem. And in fact, I'll take the time to show it.
Go red counties versus blue counties, and there you do those stats.
Blue county. Okay, we'll go on the county level. County versus red county. Crime rates, murder rate. What do you want to go? Crime rate, murder rate?
I'll start with crime. They'll give you a broader view, but murder rate's a different thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, here you go. Okay, this is from our people. This will probably be a right-wing rag, but it kind of says it all. The red state murder problem becomes the blue county murder problem. This is from the Heritage Foundation. The red state murder problem becomes a blue county murder problem.
Remember, they're going to be parsing data, even as a magazine, though.
Everybody's going to parse. So we're going to avoid going down that particular rabbit hole fraught with problems. Suffice to say, I do like the idea that once you control, and this is science, Marty, this is social science. When you go out and you're trying to observe a phenomena, then you can start controlling for factors. We call them variables, and you control the variable. And once you do, then you can make sure the thing you're seeking to measure is in fact the thing actually being measured. Okay. You don't want to be going, oh, big state looks bad. Once you control for the variable, everything changes. Rachel, Sue, and Blake, the delusion is strong. Hey, Kimba, we love you. Also, a state can have a comparatively low homicide rate, but still experience elevated levels of aggravated assault, robbery, or sexual assault, etc. Yeah, these are statistics, and we all know how they can be manipulated.
Well, especially when California decriminalized theft under $1,000. I mean, it just became
then that looks good on their books right away.
No, exactly.
No problem here. We just, we're not going to call it a crime anymore, so now it's not going to be reported. It's the same thing. They play it with the race card and the like, so we don't want to know the races anymore, who's committing the crime. We just want it in there, in general terms. So, nobody gets their feelings hurt as we examine this. But anyway, very interesting indeed. All right, let's move on. We got other stories to cover here. Okay, let's take a look at, climate change. Blake, this is something you and I are very concerned about. Let's go to the Pope and see how the Pope's handling the crisis. Okay. There's times now, listen, man, full disclosure, I'm a quarter Native American Indian, and I'm Irish, and I'm Scottish, and and what else? Oh, I'm French. I'm like 43% of my DNA is French. Almost half of me is French. And there as we know, the French is all Catholic. My Irish great grandmother, Marianne McGuire from County Clare, she was, of course, Catholic. But we got problems here with the Pope. These popes is just trouble. It makes me glad I'm not raised one. Holy shit. Leo 14 blesses a block of ice in the name of the fight against climate change. So there's the Pope in action.
Save the ice.
Here we go. I'm surprised Greta Thunberg isn't inside the damn thing.
Frozen for eternity.
Yeah, just kind of a little cherub looking up. But there's the Pope. I mean, making it so political. Absolute fucking nonsense. But here's what you do. Oh my God.
That reminds me of Star Trek.
They have their problems. Well, it's like, it's Star Trek with the gamesters of Triskelion. The incredible episode when they're trying to, they're gambling with the thralls, which is an incredible episode. Kirk's there. We play games, but your sport is too small. Anyway, it's incredible. The Gamesters of Triskelion, an incredible episode on Star Trek, the original series. All right, John, thank you so much for being with us. We love you. Thanks. We're going to be here 15 more minutes. We've got some more stories to cover.
Sorry. I was just thinking they should have a Dean Martin like character walk out while he's blessing the ice and chopping a bit off, putting in his glass. Makes it a cocktail.
Yeah. Oh, have a smooth drink. Okay, so Blake, thoughts on the Pope, the papistry getting involved with the climate change? What do you think?
Yeah, well, virtue signaling 101. That's all it is. They're trying to virtue signal to the world that this is what it is. And it's propaganda too, because there's a fight within the Catholic Church between sane people versus far left lunatics as well. I mean, it's the same kind of stuff, that controlling mechanism to create people to think a certain way. So blessing ice is not going to save the planet.
It's a PR stunt, right? It's plain and simple. It's a PR stunt.
Apparently they brought that chunk of ice in from Greenland. So, which
nice.
could be the 52nd state of the United States.
Boy, oh boy. Hey, the president's talking about that again. I think it's great. The Canada 51st state. I don't have a clip for it, but let's talk about it. The 51st state rhetoric. How's Canada doing, Blake? We looked at
meltdown.
We're having trouble with our economy. We had a financial watchdog looking over the nation saying we are in big doo-doo.
Before any tariff discussions came in.
Before. I got a clip. This is perfect. I want to play Clem back. Not my favorite guy, admittedly. He can be a little emotional, but he's okay. Table salt. Trump administration is having meetings about Alberta independence. It would recognize an independent Alberta. Roll the clip, make them big, and let's see what Glenn has to say over on.
Recognize a vote by
the State Department had a meeting, a second high-level meeting in Washington, I think on Monday, and our administration is eager to recognize Alberta as an independent state or country. Can you give me any insight on what is happening on this side of the border, and what does that mean with our relationship with the nut job parts of Canada?
Well, sure I can. I received a briefing from that delegation yesterday. I think the Trump administration is very concerned about what's happening in Canada. My understanding from the meetings that have occurred that the Trump administration officials have indicated that the U.S. would recognize a vote by the people of Alberta to become independent. So that's very important to us as we expect the vote to occur 2026, sometime around this time next year. And I think the Trump administration also recognizes you guys have right above your border in Montana the third largest reserve of oil and gas in the world. Look at the power of that, the energy independence. It takes you from an energy superpower to a mega superpower. So, and then we're completely culturally aligned. So I think there's a recognition. And the leftists in Ottawa are being global disruptors.
Keith, please stay in touch with us. Anything that we can do to help, but I want to make sure America understands, the world that we are right on the brink of losing or changing, and how dangerous these times are if we don't all keep our level heads. And I've been watching you with great interest on what's happening. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do. Please pass on to your Canadian friends. There are millions of us who pray for you.
Yeah. Praise God. Thank you, Americans. Pray for Canada. Pray for the patriots up here. We are outnumbered, but Alberta is a conservative enclave. It is overrepresented in terms of people of right wing who love our Donald John Trump. Bless them. Go ahead, Blake. Thoughts on Glenn Beck's comments?
Well, it's very similar to the county versus county situation in Canada. If you were to take a similar type of approach to across Canada, most of Canada would be conservative. The problem is that you have these hyper designed, you could call them gerrymandered type of urban center liberals and NDP, which are one and the same. Orange is what you see behind me is the NDP because they're in control of BC right now. But it's very urban versus suburban rural, and suburban being the battlegrounds. It always is. Urban is where all the far left people are. Suburban is it starts to go either way. And then when you get into the rural area, so there's a lot of parts of Canada that don't think like downtown Toronto, don't think like downtown Montreal, Quebec, or Vancouver, even Calgary and Edmonton, where we call jokingly in Alberta, Redmonton, it's where the seat of government is. So if you were to look at like the city of Edmonton, it's left wing, because it's government workers.
You're going to confuse our American when you call it Redmonton. Red's for commies, not red as in Republican red.
Yeah, exactly. So, kind of like we call the left coast for a reason.
The left coast, so true.
Yeah. But, it's interesting if you look at what's happening right now in Canada. I mean, we've been under the threat of separation for how many decades now? I think when the FLQ crisis, the Quebec separatists, the 60s, 70s, 71. And the rise of Quebec separatism, they actually went to two different referendums, just about one each time, but we're just on like fractions of percentage of splitting. So Canada's been living under the threat of separation, which has turned into a grifting machine for Alberta, the Eastern elites, what we call the Laurentian elites, to basically steal money out of the West. Basically, our resource-rich West is being what's through what we call in Canada federal transfer payments. So they're sucking money, tax base out of the West, and then they're redeploying it into dependent provinces like Quebec to keep them happy, and then the Maritimes as well. So you have this horrible system where Alberta, the oil-rich capital of really North America next to Texas, is a huge machine for wealth in Canada, is being redistributed to provinces that hate Alberta. So you can understand Albertans how they feel. They feel like they've been fighting this Western alienation for a long time. British Columbians do as well. We've been part of that as well. We are a net contributor to Canada, and our money gets taken out of our province and taken back east. And so we've been getting sucked dry by these guys every year when we could be a wealthy independent country or extremely wealthy independent or states within the United States. And historically, until we were forced into, in a lot of ways, by British and that side to join in with the Confederation of Canada, that this would be a good thing. But we are historically a Northwest trading partnership on the West Coast, on the East Coast. Centrally, the same kind of thing. It's not an east-west trading corridors. No. It was north-south historically, and it still is. So there really makes no sense why the West in Canada should be dominated by Toronto and Montreal. And that corridor, what they call the 401 corridor, which is the highway between Toronto and Montreal, for those that don't know. But it's what they call that. It's literally a couple area codes that basically dominates politics in all of Canada. There's that many people living in that corridor that once those areas vote and they vote to who wins, it's pretty much calls it. But the population now has changed dramatically over the last 20 years, especially as more and more people have moved out west. We've had more children, we've grown, and now we're wanting our own voice. And the Laurentian elite in the East don't want that. They still want to retain that power. And so this kind of, I guess, should bring us into this conversation, because now, of course, Trump said that. He never said we're going to annex Canada. And this is the lies Canada goes under right now, is that we're being told daily by our regime media, or we call legacy media, all the time that Trump's trying to annex Canada. He has not annexed Canada. He's never once said we should annex Canada. He keeps invitationally asking Canada to join, which is amazing. He's not, in most countries in the world, if you, I bet you if the United States went to like Fiji or someone like that, hey, do you want to join us? I bet you, there would be a vote there. And a lot of these countries in the world be, yeah, absolutely. And a lot of us who around the world that are trying to get across the border, and I'm saying, from Mexico and down in South America, people are clamoring to get into the United States. And here's Canada and their elites trying to control that process, saying, no, elbows up. No, we're our own. We don't want that. We don't want this. And yet there is a massive disenfranchisement within Canada with its own government, and we're being highly manipulated. And Carney was their WF leader to bring into Canada because Trudeau was going to collapse liberal power. And they just dumped him in here like a king and anointed him. He hasn't even, you know what? He's never filed a budget. He's been prime minister.
Yeah.
For how long now? And they're finally going to get to a budget.
Yeah.
That just never happened in Canadian history. You just don't run a budget. You have to do it through Parliament. He's never.
It's goofy.
So he's just spending money wildly.
Yeah.
But it is like we've talked before. It's kind of like the big kleptocracy is just stealing what they can, because I believe it's the inevitable. So if you'll pull up that link that you're just showing.
Okay.
So Party is going to meet with Trump again.
Yeah.
You'll go up to the headline first and then scroll down.
Go the headline there. Yeah. Carney's going to meet with Trump. Yeah.
So I think, they're going to try and settle the, obviously working on a new trade deal on that side of it. But I put my comments down below what that conversation is.
Okay. There we go. Let's make it big. Here's the comment.
So go ahead and read it.
Okay. So Blake goes, so Mark, how's the $1 trillion wealth transfer from Canada's union public pension funds to the U.S. investment going? Trump asked, still working on it, Don. Just need more time to convince Canada it's best for them. By the way, thanks for the great slogan, albums up, Don. It worked like a charm, Carney. Reply. So basically, everything Carney's saying is different than what he's doing. His words and his actions are at odds with one another, because a lot of Canada's wealth is being invested not in Canada, but in something that actually matters, the United States of America.
Well, we saw that with Brookfield, right? Brookfield, just before Carney got his anointment in Canada, he was, of course, the head of Brookfield, a massive $1 trillion asset management company in the lines, not as big as BlackRock or Vanguard or State Street, but these guys run the big pension fund management for the unions and public pension funds, etc. And it's worth trillions in Canada. And so now that the WF plan was collapsing, I think Carney has been brought in to figure out a way to use the monies, the trillions of dollars in assets, and move it into the U.S. Because he moved Brookfield into New York City just before last October, almost a year ago now. Brookfield moved its headquarters out of Canada and into New York City. And which is amazing, because that was right before the election. I think they knew, maybe they were thinking there would be a Kamala Harris, but I doubt it. They knew Trump was going to win. And I think they've realized that their WF plan is going to collapse. There's a new world order and nationalism is back right? It's now
Yeah.
popular to be not like Canada was going full on. We're a post-national state. Europe was going that way. They're all announcing that, we have no national identity. It's all about, you own nothing and be happy, the Klaus Schwab world view. And that was what they were hoping to achieve. And I think this is what Carney has been brought in. As I said, he's a double agent. He has to talk the language that the left loves. But in the end, it's this year-long process, maybe 2-year process of transferring that wealth over. Most of the investments are in U.S. investments. Yeah. Trump's going, bring that Canadian $1 trillion. There's trillions of dollars in Canadian pension funds invested. So you can bring that, and a lot of them into U.S. industry. So it's to reinvigorate U.S. economy. And that's why I think Canada has been invited. That's why Trump, he doesn't pull any punches. He tells the truth. He's like, join us for free, because most of your assets are in our investments anyways. So he knows this. You can see the BlackRock, what companies they own. Vanguard, and you can see what Canadian unions and pension funds from those unions and those public pension funds as well, what they're invested in Canada. It's this big tentacle, but I think they thought they could convert Canada into this vassal, resource-rich state that could be manipulated, controlled by this monopoly, and now Trump's breaking that up. And I think Alberta will be how they can break it, because once Alberta leaves and they get accepted in the US, the West collapses, right? Because and then the East no longer has access to Pacific ports. It's finished. It's now a North-South trading relationship. EB will be chased out of here. Most of BC will leave with Alberta, even if EB tries to hold Vancouver. They will leave because the North, the interior, is primarily more in line with Alberta than they would be with Victoria.
And we saw that in the way the voting bloc goes, it all leans with
exactly. So Vancouver, okay, they might say, we'll become the Seattle of British Columbia. We'll be progressives, we'll do our thing, and they'll cave into it. And I think EB's part of that now. EB comes out of Ontario. He's not a British Columbia born guy. And for those who are listening, he's our premier of British Columbia.
He's like our governor.
Yeah, and he's very much far left, but he's been working with these guys, I think, to consolidate power and control and resources. And of course, this could take us into the Bernier discussion of what's happening to Maxime Bernier with about how they're using land claims to take away property rights to consolidate power into the hands of a few.
It's interesting. I mean, we could cover that story. I see my clock on wall. It's 1:00. So I'm getting a little peckish around here at this time of day. And I got a show later today to do as well. But I think that's the big story. We'll cover that Bernier story. It's just about the native rights thing. And, he's saying there's no bodies found at residential schools. It's an ongoing farce up here. But I really like what you're saying, Blake, about the double agent aspect. Canada's under a lot of pressure right now, and I'll leave on my part with this, and I'll let you respond to this as well, I'd like you to respond to it, I was watching a post today. In 2026, the Canadian trade deal with the U.S. is coming up for renewal or reevaluation. If Trump pulls the carpet out from under our feet, and remember, Glenn Beck was saying this whole independence thing vote is going to happen next year in 2026 at around this time. Well, 2026 at around this time, the whole entire Canadian trade agreement with the United States is coming up. And if you want to understand economic strong arming Canada, you ain't seen nothing yet, because if Trump decides to pull that out, we're already reeling from losing. Auto industry has taken a shot. We've lost a lot of money, a lot of jobs. Canada's in big trouble. And to reiterate, almost half of our Canadian population have only been here for 10 years or less. These are all newcomers that come in from elsewhere. This Canada is just absolutely tottering. And even that financial guy that was looking at our economy, he said, we're in precarious. We're in a very dangerous state.
Well, he's an auditor, right? That guy was an auditor working for the government. That's his job. to public accounts. So
Yeah.
he's an accountant, and he's seeing this disaster that unfunded liabilities are outweighing what Canada can produce.
It's like
And-
we're the Titanic and there's a giant iceberg right ahead, and there's no way we're changing course to avoid hitting it.
Well, I think Canada's at the point where the Titanic started to split apart.
Oh,
So it's sinking underwater.
we're a little further along.
A little further
I wonder what
along in that way.
I wonder what that bump was.
Meanwhile, Carney's out there moving some chairs around as it's
Yeah,
going
well, just
down.
violin, play something.
Keep your elbows up. You'll be okay. Swim.
And the band played on. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for watching. Thumbs up the show. Don't elbows up, but thumbs up. And subscribe if you're new around here. I want to thank Blake. As always, we're going to be back on Tuesday. I hope we get Blake back with us on Tuesday for Tuesday.
Yep, we'll be here.
All right, buddy. Thank you, everybody, and especially thanks to Blake for helping us out with this thing. A lot of fun. Lots to, and no, there's nothing boring about the body politic these days. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now. Boof. Boof.